Okay, now call to order the Cambria County Salary Board, March 12th, 2026. Anyone for Salary Board for public comment?
Yes, Mr. Ludwig, I see your name's crossed out.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Albright,
Yes.
you have 3 minutes.
As I shared with the commissioners many times, what doesn't happen in a community in our county that involves money. So that's why I take the advantage of this 3 minutes to talk about the monies in the county. And the last meeting I came to, you talked about the foster grandparent program. And Commissioner Hunt said that if I understand right now, that you weren't getting the feedback or the results from that program, and you thought that another agency could take it over. So could you just think about how much money you actually saved in stopping that program, and also about the value? We can't stress enough the importance of presence and being there, being here wherever we are, being here, being present. And sometimes that in itself is a statement. It's a value. And if these foster grandparents were showing up in the lives of young people who apparently have some kind of void in their life, that presence is important and it's valuable. Not only for the child, but also for the grandparent. A motivation to get up, to get dressed. You have a purpose. So I would ask you to rethink this foster grandparent program and your financing of it. And weigh what is lost and how much did you really gain in doing that? So maybe at the next meeting we can talk about that, because I know you can't answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Albright.
I would like to answer real quick for you, just to clarify my words. So we did not do it because we weren't getting the right feedback. So the funds were not continued at the time as a part of the Doge when they were doing the Doge stuff in early 2025. So that program ended on June 30th because all the money was expended. So the program ended. And as a result, the 2 people who oversaw the program chose to retire. So we had, the reason I believe that it's to hand it over to another organization is we will be starting over from scratch. And most counties do not run this. We were one of 4 counties that ran this program throughout the state. The other 3 being Allegheny, Philadelphia, and Delaware County. And in a lot of cases, we don't have a lot of things in common with those 3 counties, especially financially. So just to finish, that was why we chose, and there is an organization that is interested in doing it, and that was, we tried to just transfer it to them. Because of how the competitive grant works, we weren't able to do that, and they couldn't apply until we relinquished it. So that is why that we did that at our last meeting.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other public comment for Salary Board?
No other public comment.
Approve the Salary Board minutes of February 26, 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Abolish full-time assistant deputy warden of finance and facility services for the prison, effective March 16, 2026. Abolish full-time chief deputy warden of operations for the prison, effective March 16, 2026. And abolish full-time retirement board position for the controller's office, effective March 16, 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Create full-time chief deputy of operations for the prison, effective March 16, 2026. And create full-time chief deputy of finance and facility services for the prison, effective March 16, 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We have one salary modification, full-time pension benefits, healthcare administrator / second deputy for the controller's office, from $51,473.24 annually to $45,000 annually, effective March 16th, 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded, discussion. All in favor? Do we have an adjournment for the
Motion.
salary board?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion seconded, all in favor? Call to order the Cambria County Board of Commissioners meeting, March 12, 2026. Public comment?
Mr. Reed Ludwig, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Reed, and I'm a resident of Cambria County. I understand the county approved participation in the 287G jail enforcement model, which deputizes local jail officials to investigate the immigration status of people in custody and allows them to issue ICE detainers that can begin deportation proceedings. This is a significant expansion of the role of our county jail from local detention into federal immigration enforcement. Programs like this raise serious questions about our cost to taxpayers, legal liability for counties that hold people on immigration detainers, and the impact on cooperation between law enforcement and the community. Decisions of this magnitude deserve clear transparency about the evidence and analysis used before adopting them. What specific public safety data or documented problem in Cambria County led to the commissioners to conclude that adopting the 287G jail enforcement program was necessary? And can you identify the report, study, or analysis the commissioners relied on when making that decision? And because counties around the country have faced lawsuits and settlements related to ICE detainers issued under the 287G agreements, what legal review and financial impact analysis did Cambria County conduct before approving this program? And will the commissioners commit to making that analysis publicly available for residents to review?
Thank you.
All right. Miss Madeline Burrows, you have 3 minutes.
We are here outraged about the murder of Renee Good and Alex Pretty and others targeted by ICE. It is becoming more clear that ICE is a danger to our community. The agreement the commissioners approved in April 2025 that allows police in prison to work with ICE is an invitation to let them extend their dangerous activities here. A number of us here are here to say we do not want ICE here, and many want and have seen these deals rescinded across the country. What do you think it would take for you to consider rescinding this agreement?
Thank you.
Mr. William Dill, you have 3 minutes.
Given the heightened amount of violence that has become obvious over the past year, do you believe that you adequately informed the residents of Cambria County before inviting ICE into our neighborhoods?
Is that all?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, in this next part, I have an N. Belsano, maybe?
Rossini?
Is that you, sir?
No, that's him.
Yep, you have 3 minutes, sir, go ahead.
It's your turn.
A brief explanation of anti-immigrant sentiment in the country shows not new. ICE is not new. This has been going on for hundreds of years. In the 50s, they had Operation Wetback, that's what they call it, under Eisenhower. Deported 1 million Mexicans. He was focused on Mexicans. Reasons given: economic, anti-alien sentiment, anti-Mexican sentiment. In the 1882, they targeted the Chinese, and it was based on anti-Chinese sentiment and economic reasons. Even unions went along with it. Of course, we know about the Palmer raids, where Italian labor leaders were rounded up because they were considered to be left-leaning. We know about the Japanese being interned, the Italians being interned. The 1920s was a big nativist American period, as exemplified in the Lilly riot of this period between the Irish coal miners and the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan was very large. So what we see is, we're throwing all these immigrants out. We know they're going to come back in the future when the bosses are looking for low wages. So I think we should just distance ourselves from ice, period.
Any other people for public comment? Ms. Albright?
Yes. I'd like to share with you because there's many of us that come into the public arena by what we've experienced and how we're brought up and how we're maybe boxed into our thinking. And this book, Lies My Teacher Told Me, by Dr. James W. Lowen, is about the inadequacy of our educational system that you and people below me or younger than me have been taught. And that there's one word to cover the history of the country and how we were taught it, and that's heroification. We were never taught the opposing side of what was going on. I didn't know that George Washington had a motive for declaring the independence, because he was rebuked by the British monarchy for a promotion. So that's kind of a revelation of what we would call the dark side of the motivation of why people do things. It's not just, the benevolence of things. What motivates people to do things? And the idea that we have disguised so many behaviors that were self-serving or actually harmful and damaging to other people and the environment, that we ignore this, that we can't recognize this. That's because of what we were taught. We were indoctrinated. We weren't really taught. We didn't learn that there is a negative and a positive side. And thank goodness for these young people who are seeing the negative side to this ICE operation. And by the way, is our national flag hanging at half-mast? Are we in mourning because of the war? Is that why it's at half-mast up there? I'm just interjecting that because it was an observation when I came in. So to be in mourning is to have a time of reflection of what's going on around about us. And this illegal war that we are in, because Congress did not give authority for this. And this is one of the things that is in conflict with our thinking. So please read this book for better understanding of ourselves and why we are responding the way we are today to many of the situations. Thank you.
Thank you. To answer your question real quick, the flags are currently at half-mast for the, the flags are at half-mast due to the state policeman who was murdered, I believe Monday morning or Sunday night. That's why they're currently, and that was ordered by the state. Yep. And then the only other thing I did want to add is we did enter a contract in April 2025. That being said, we've had contracts with ICE and the Marshals for, well, the Marshals, some of the Marshals' money helped build our current prison, which is almost about 30 years old. Ed, is that about right? Around 30 years old. And the only reason we had to re-enter that agreement with ICE in 2025 was because there were some things in the last administration that they changed some of the rules that had to do with bathrooms that our facility could not, our prison wasn't built to have family-style bathrooms and stuff like that. So we weren't able to be a part of the program then because of that. So that issue is now not a regulation anymore, so we entered in. My point is we've had agreements with ICE and Marshals for many, many years. Any other discussion from the board? Okay. No other public comment. Approve the minutes of the Commissioners meeting held February 26, 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded, discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Notice of executive sessions on March 9th, 2026 and March 10th, 2026. The Cambria County Commissioners met with Cambria County agency department heads, the Department of Human Resources, and the Cambria County Solicitor in executive session for legal and personnel matters. Proclamations. Motion to approve the following proclamations. Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month, Child Abuse Prevention Month, Dan Barefoot, Pennsylvania 4-H Week, and Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month.
Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded discussion. We will, let's vote on the first. All in favor?
Aye.
I have the first one apparently. Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month, March 2026. Whereas bleeding disorders which share the inability to form a proper blood clot are characterized by extended bleeding after injury, surgery, trauma, or menstruation, and can lead to significant morbidity and can be fatal if not treated effectively. And whereas during the 1980s, many individuals with hemophilia became infected with HIV and hepatitis C due to the contamination of blood supply and blood products. And whereas in 1986, March was federally designated as Hemophilia Awareness Month. And in 2016, the Department of Health and Human Service designated March as National Bleeding Disorders Month. And whereas there have been great scientific achievements in the treatment of bleeding disorders and the larger pursuit of advanced therapies and cures to those disorders. And whereas the bleeding disorders community relationship with policymakers fostered numerous medical and policy advancements benefited to all those affected and their loved ones. And whereas Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month fosters a greater sense of community and shared purpose amongst individuals with inheritable bleeding disorders. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Cambria County, do hereby proclaim March 2026 to be Bleeding Disorder Awareness Month in Cambria County. And I believe we have Angela Day here from her organization, and if you want to, let's hand this out to you, and then if you want to make a couple comments, that'd be great.
Don't really do comments, but I will thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Child Abuse Prevention Month. I will try to reflect the words. There's a lot here so that all of you stay awake. Whereas every child in Cambria County deserves to be cared for by adults who provide love, protection, and a safe environment. And whereas child abuse and neglect are serious problems affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions require input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are our most valuable asset, and they will shape the future of our community. And whereas child abuse and neglect can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because the partnerships created between child advocacy centers, child welfare professionals, law enforcement agencies, mental health professionals, medical professionals, education, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong, thriving children and families. And whereas Cambria County acknowledges that communities must work together to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas child abuse prevention and building healthy families and communities create the best opportunity for children to succeed and reach their full potential. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Commissioners of Cambria County, hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And we encourage all citizens to cherish our children and join in protecting them from all forms of abuse so that every child in our community can experience the happy, healthy childhoods they deserve. I don't know that there's any, is there anybody here from the child abuse?
No, we're gonna be given that, I believe, on April 1st. At the Pinwheel.
All right, my second one, not as long, folks, for Olympian Dan Barefoot. Whereas Dan Barefoot is originally from Cambria County and attended Penn State University, where he received a degree in landscape architecture, and he currently works as a landscape architect. And whereas in 2016, Dan held a 9-to-5 position at an engineering firm in Florida when he decided to take up skeleton. And whereas he began training and worked his way through the skeleton ranks, participating in the U.S. Skeleton Developmental Team, the North American Cup Tour, and the Intercontinental Cup Tour. And whereas Dan eventually competed in the IBSF World Cup Tour and 3 World Championships, finishing 11th at the 2025 IBSF World Championship in Lake Placid, New York. And whereas Dan has competed in the individual men competition at the World Cup in 2024, at the 2023, 2024, and 2025 World Championships, finishing 10th in the mixed team competition and 11th in the individual men's competition. And in 2026, he participated in the Winter Olympics, finishing 10th in the mixed team competition and 20th in the individual men competition. Now therefore, we the Commissioners of Cambria County hereby declare March 4th, 2026 as Dan Barefoot Day in Cambria County, and we congratulate him on his skeleton career and for competing in the 2026 Winter Olympics. We recognize his achievements and wish him the best of luck in the future. We have Dan Barefoot's father here to receive this.
I know you're not short of one word. Do you have anything to say?
On behalf of my son Dan, this is very exciting. The amazing trip continues. Thank you for everybody's support. Appreciate the commissioners recognizing Dan on his endeavors. He's in Lake Placid. He's back to training and back to this world that he knows. And as far as we know, France is in our sights in 2030. So appreciate your support. I would like to give a special shout out to Emily Marines, who took this story before anybody even knew about it, ran with it, and put him on the local stage. So appreciate you. Thank you.
Got a couple more.
Pennsylvania 4-H Week. Capri is here with 4-H. Thank you, Capri, for being here. March 15th, March 21st, 2026. Whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, supporting nearly 6 million youth across the country. Whereas 4-H has helped 1,198 youth in Cambria County become confident, independent, resilient, compassionate leaders as they learn by doing. And 4-H in Pennsylvania is delivered by Penn State Cooperative Extension in rural areas, small towns, and cities in all 67 counties of the Commonwealth to more than 77,000 youth ages 5 through 18. And whereas 4-H youth in Pennsylvania are served by a network of staff members and more than 6,000 adult volunteers who engage and mentor youth in learning activities and hands-on projects and topics such as animal science, civic engagement, STEM, and health and wellness. And whereas Pennsylvania 4-H Week showcases the incredible ways that 4-H inspires children and highlights the remarkable 4-H youth in Cambria County who work each day to make a positive impact on those and them around them. 4-H Network provides you with opportunities for leadership development, career exploitation, problem solving, friendships, community involvement, passion, and purpose. Now therefore, we the Commissioners of Cambria County do thereby proclaim the week of March 15, 2026 through March 21st, 2026 as Pennsylvania 4-H Week in Cambria County. And we encourage our citizens to acknowledge and celebrate 4-H for its valuable service and continued efforts to empower youth with the foundation of success for a lifetime. Commissioner Rager, Commissioner Hunt, Commissioner Trusky. Thank you. Capri, you want to say a few words?
Sure.
So for those of you who are not familiar with 4-H, is represented in this room. Everything from the fact that we teach 8-year-olds to 18-year-olds the parliamentary procedure. We teach them public speaking, so we teach them to speak like Miss Albright and these young folks over here. And I personally had a very long plane trip. And my goal on that plane trip was to research as many 4-H kids in Cambria County as I could to see if they ever landed in jail and to see if they ever were convicted of drugs. And I got through 7 years of our alumni and we had 0. So we are raising kids that have a unique 4-H family. They have a network that they can rely on, and we are building the leaders of tomorrow in Cambria County.
This is Jeff Hackenberg, not the quarterback at Penn State, the Penn State extension.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
One more.
Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month. Whereas as the month of April 2026 is recognized as Pennsylvania's 811 Safe Digging Month as an initiative sponsored by Pennsylvania 811, a utility notification information center with over 54 years of continuous service to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas Pennsylvania received over 1 million excavation notifications in 2025, over 30,000 construction projects in coordination PA, and transmitted approximately 6 million notifications to their member facility owners and operators alike, essential utility and construction crews to provide vital underground services and repair critical infrastructures to communities throughout Pennsylvania. And whereas, when contacting 811 at least 3 business days before digging, a homeowner or contractor is connected to a unique service that notifies the appropriate underground utility operators in the municipality in which the work will be performed. And by notifying 811 of their intent to dig, the homeowner or the contractor is not only helping protect the underground utilities themselves, work crew, and their neighbors from unsafe digging practices within their community. Whereas upon receiving a notification from Pennsylvania 811, the facility owners and operators dispersed to said the work site to mark approximate location of their underground utility lines with flags, paint, and or both in order to establish an 18-inch tolerance zone of the outside wall or edge of their line or facility. Now therefore be resolved that we, the Commissioners of Cambria County, support the Pennsylvania Underground Utility Line Protection Law, PA Act 287, 1974, as amended to hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Pennsylvania 811 Digging Month, and we encourage all Pennsylvanians to visit the Pennsylvania 811 website. The Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Keith, Commissioner Scott, and myself, Commissioner Tom. And we have nobody here excepting we will send it to them in the mail. Thank you.
Okay.
$52.
Motion.
Motion and seconded discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve the municipal bond insurance commitment letter with Build America Mutual Assistance Company to insure the general obligation bond series 2026 at a rate of 0.58% of the total debt services on the bonds.
Motion.
I'll second that. Motion and seconded discussion.
I would just add, I got the dollar value afterwards is $58,912.02. It was almost half of the amount of the second bidder, so it came in well under that.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the independent contractor agreement with Allison Schroyer to provide training and support to adult probation staff for a time frame not to exceed 2 days at a rate of $150 per day.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve the cooperation agreement with Arium with regard to the LSA grant for the Remote Operations Center drone hunt.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded discussion.
Yeah, it's just the continuation. I think all of us agree. We have a lot of momentum going at the airport. We have an economy there. We're trying to continue the economy at the airport. This is another way to get some dollars through a grant and work with the other vendor that they're talking to be the center of excellence for drone activity at the airport.
Yeah, I think we're doing so many great things at the airport. I echo what Tom's saying.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contracts, motion to approve 2 service contracts for Cambria County Drug and Alcohol fiscal year 2025 to 2026, and approve 3 service contracts for Cambria County Children and Youth Services fiscal year 2025 to 2026.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Tax appeals, motion to approve the stipulation prepared in the tax appeal of Rashid Deeb filed at case number 2024-3943. Approve the agreed stipulation prepared in the tax appeal of Zinn Realty Corporation filed at case number 2021-3413. And approve the agreed stipulation prepared in the tax appeal of Zinn Realty Corporation filed at case number 2021-3414.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded, discussion.
Yeah, I can tell you that the Rashid Deeb is 142 Walnut Street, that's the property. The first Zinn property is 217 and 219 Franklin Street. The next stipulation is 225 and 227 Franklin Street. All 3 of these were approved by the school district, the municipality, and the county last, as we always are. For the first stipulation, again, these are the stipulations. Once the court order goes through, then the taxes are owed. The first one for Rashid Deeb is $2,245.43 is the taxes on that. It will be reduced. The next is the $1,634.16. And the third one is $4,451. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Tax exonerations authorized, motion to authorize and direct the tax claim bureau director to strike from the records in her office taxes plus penalty, interest, and fees assessed against the properties listed on the agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded, discussion. Ron, these were all sold at judicial sale.
That is correct. Yeah, these are, the taxes will be waived and essentially put back on the roll, so hopefully there will be taxable income coming in from those properties not sold.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Change orders, motion to approve the following change orders of Sodi's excavating for the Prince Gallitzin State Park, Muskrat Beach Parking Lot Number 1 project. Change order number 1, reduction of linear feet of shoreline, $86,819. Change order number 2, additional restoration work for $8,000, and a new contract amount of $213,075.
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded, discussion. John Drives. Here, hiding behind the news.
Hi. Just due to site conditions out there, we had to reduce the number of feet of shoreline we had intended to initially stabilize, which is led to the reduction of the total amount of shoreline being done, and to continue on with the deteriorating site conditions would have just caused more restoration work and expense. So we had to reduce the size of the project, as happens from time to time when you're working in a natural environment. So it reduced the total contract.
Thanks, sir. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Reappointment, motion to approve reappointing George Gvozdich Jr. Esquire to the Cambria County BHDS Advisory Board for a 3-year term beginning January 1st,